All right. There's this weird value that we give our favorite actors, the ones that we see on our favorite sitcoms, the ones that write our books, the ones that invoke presence in all of our favorite movies. But it's weird because it's like, all right, for example, like yesterday I had the podcast yesterday, and I spoke about Terry Crews and how for a majority of our lives he's been the greasy, oily robot nigga that
The
just
dancing
he
motherfucker.
he dance and for a check. You
Yeah,
feel what I'm saying?
absolutely.
That's how he is. Longest yard, white chicks. But when you watch his testimony from like what was it? I think it was like a year back. It was the sexual assault survivor bill of rights. And you watch his opening testimony, bro. It's I don't want to. I'm not gonna say mind blowing, but it's just like I didn't know you knew how to read. Like that's it's he's the way he's able to articulate. So all right, so in the testimony, he basically says that his father, he watched his father uh, overpower his mother with power control, and his whole thing was just, I gotta protect mom. So I in doing that, I have to get strong. I gotta make sure no one's able to do that to mom. But he ended up doing the same thing, I guess, trying not to be like his father. He ended up imposing that same power control, whether it be on the football field, whether it be in acting, whether it be in women. And the way he's able to articulate that and what it meant to him, invoking presence and awareness to his experience to someone of power imposing themselves on him. It was just something I didn't expect of him.
You didn't expect him to, I want to say, articulate himself, be able to get that point across without what necessarily like fumbling over his words, or you just didn't feel like he would be able to just to be able to understand why he's gotten to that point in his life with imposing his power.
It's a little bit of everything. Like the way he was able to make his experience
To connect the two,
yeah
like connect the dots,
yeah
basically.
he basically was basically he in more words than one, he just showed how his oppression was synonymous with the oppression that other people face, was their trauma, their trials and tribulations with sexual assault. So it was nothing I had ever seen from him. So just seeing him doing that, knowing that that's not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Especially being a dude his size and telling him like, yo, this little
I was
agent.
able to let somebody take advantage of me, regardless to how big I am. Like I let somebody do it, but it just came from this situation where looking at it like this is normal, thinking that this was something that happened when people have a power over you, that they're able to impose their power, they're able to flex their muscle essentially. And
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like he came to that on his own? Like I feel like we're in a generation where it's a healthy thing that a lot of people go to therapists and speak to people. Maybe not just a therapist. I don't want to say that it's a doctor title, but people go to other forms of outlets, other form of outlets to be able to get what they need. I want to say. So how I look at it is like, for example, maybe you have something that you want to get off your chest, but you have to go to an impartial person. So it could be somebody along those lines that maybe helped him get to that. Or do you feel like when he was speaking, and I understand, I obviously know that you're not in his mind when watching that, because I didn't actually watch it, so I'm not well versed in exactly what he said, but I just feel like in order to make that connection with a lot of people, you have to go to somebody to not you have to, but a lot of people do go to somebody to be able to make that connection. So in listening to that, did you feel like maybe he got that from?
So he had in the testimony he had given he said it was his wife. He had went to the party with his wife when the situation happened, and his wife was the one that told him he had to be vocal about it. You know, and you guys gotta, is if everybody listening, keep women in your life. Like women are very important. They tell you a lot about yourself. They'll tell you a lot about your strengths, a lot about your flaws, your vulnerabilities. And I guess the way he said it was basically he brushed it off. He just seen it as a joke at first, but she made him come to the realization that, this is not okay. This is not okay, you know. But he got caught a lot of flack just being the big presence he is, big black dude.
6'4", black.
Yeah, nigga big as hell.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? But
I also feel like with a lot of the things that we're mentioning currently, it's harder to be vulnerable. Like when you think about that, being a black male, being 6-something, and being 250 pounds of what looks like pure muscle, and I feel like you add an extra component into being someone who comes forth. Like, granted, I feel like it's hard to come forth with anything for the most part, but being that person, being the person we see do the robot and look like he can actually be a mechanical robot because of how big he is. I think that might, the reason why he had to brush that off when his wife said it is because it's like, I really can't, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, in his mind, mentally, he might have just got to a point where, like, he might have just been like, I have to kind of suppress this. Like, I have to not be able to talk about this because I'm gonna be laughed at. Like, not only am I going to be laughed at, but I've worked so hard on becoming this figure that once I've expressed myself in a certain way, people are no longer going to look at me like that. And especially because I want to say he gets typecasted. You get what I'm saying? Now if you look at him, it's like, you get what I'm saying? Not me, but I'm saying for some people it may be, and I think he might feel like that's going to impact his ability to get paid. You know what I'm saying? That might affect his money.
No, but in essence, like, he was either playing the, like, I don't know, he was playing the more ignorant roles, but the more stereotypical roles. Like, you remember the Aki jail nigga from Longest Yard,
Yeah, that's a fact.
or the only black dude, the Uncle Tom and White Chicks,
and then the big what's the name, and the bully in Friday After Next.
Yeah, but then again another jail role. So it's like that's how you kind of see him, and you know we got to see a little different side. Everybody else hates Chris. It was, you know, we was able to empathize with that character, you know.
But he was still an imposing figure in that show. But I get what you're saying. It was a slightly different role. But you also see more of him in Everybody Hates Chris, where in the movies he's never been like a significant character. He's never been the main character or even the main. Supporting cast. Character. Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
go ahead. No. I was about to say, because when you look at it, like in The Longest Yard, there's people who are wrestlers and actual football players. That's and fact. Then Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, you know what I'm saying? Those people overshadowed him. And Friday After Next, he took somebody else's place, and like he basically stepped into a role, the same as Mike Epps. Like, he became somebody. Basically, he filled the void of casting that somebody else left. You get what I'm saying? Understood. Like, he was the dad in what sculpted Chris Rock's childhood. You get what I'm saying? Like, like you've seen him. He was in just about every episode, if not every episode, showing who he was. Like the cheap, over hardworking.
Like that Kool-Aid, just that 17 cents worth of Kool-Aid you motherfuckers wasting right there. No, but you know what it is? I feel like it's one thing to typecast somebody into a role as an actor. But to do it as a human being, like, I think we have a flaw in the way we see actors and people on TV, where you are what you show us. Not realizing that everybody is an onion, in a sense, where we all have layers.
But we were just having that conversation off the mic, where basically it's like when you see an actor, you see them in their role. So if you're being typecasted, like, I wouldn't be able to tell you who Keanu Reeves is, like, because you don't really, like, you see him in pictures now, like, that he's this mysterious John Wick character. But before that, I feel like
John Wick a bad motherfucker.
I feel like before that he was Keanu Reeves was
John
playing,
Wick is a bad motherfucker.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying before that you seen Keanu Reeves in, like, essentially the
Neo
same
was a
role.
bad motherfucker.
I'm not jacking it, bro. He's the same person in everything, bro. In The Replacements, I feel like he was just like a space, like.
See, but look, if we talking about, all right, now we were talking about range. See, because I think Denzel and Will had some of that too, where it's just like a lot of their roles, they're themselves. Like Hancock, I Am Legend, and what was the other one?
Where he's like the last person, iRobot, yeah.
All three. Will Smith is the same nigga in all three of them.
But I'm saying though, I think that Will Smith is the same person in a. I'm sorry, he's the same person in a lot of movies. That close. Oh, all right. Because I feel like I heard resistance when I said P. But I feel like Will Smith is the same person in a lot of things. Not you just named. You just named 3 movies where he's essentially the same exact person. But I feel like in a lot of movies he's
the same exact.
He's a similar person because I feel like you can say that about him and what's his name as Deadshot, him and Suicide Squad.
That's another one.
You get what I'm saying? Like but I also feel like there's the reason why we can say that he puts his spin on every character. And we've had that conversation about Neo in the Matrix because he was supposed to be Neo. That movie probably wouldn't have been the same if he was in Arrow because essentially Keanu Reeves had to play someone who was, I want to say, serious.
I think he had to play someone who was, I think he was the main statue. At being the main piece, he was a supporting piece. Because when I think about Neo, I think of what he represented to the movie. But there's no one-liner that really catches me that I could tell you from Keanu Reeves. But Morpheus played a great part. When you think about Jada Pinkett Smith in the movie, she played a great part. You know what I mean? You think about their relationship. Trinity had a great role. Her and Neo's, synonymous with what led to the flaw within what was the nigga name? The architect.
Yeah.
His plan on making a perfect matrix, which is the biggest human strength is hope, but it's also love. But not to circle back, even when you say Will Smith is the type of person that even though neither one of us know the nigga, you'll hear him in interviews, you hear him on radio shows, and you listen to him. He's always articulating himself.
Yeah, but when you think of where Will Smith came from, he's not just an actor. He's a bunch of
rapper.
Okay, but I'm saying when you think about Will Smith, the reason why you see him so often is because he's not just that. You get what I'm saying? The reason why, and this is to circle back to Terry Crews, when someone is when someone is this specific person in their typecast, and you don't see them as anything else. It's just like, what else do we have to go off of to even understand that you are articulate, that you could articulate yourself and show someone the other side of you if all we have, like, think about it. For example, musicians, people are constantly trying to get them to do something, I want to say, out of their normal. So, like, if I constantly shove a microphone and a camera in your face, I'm trying to get you to do something. The same thing with athletes. We put so much into what these people are saying because they have a platform, but you could be catching them at a point in time where they're not ready to speak. And then some people just aren't well versed in what they're talking about, what you're asking them.
But that's why it's impressive with him, because he put himself. It wasn't somebody putting the microphone in his face, so to speak. It was him putting the spotlight on himself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? To inspire other people. Like he addresses the cult of toxic masculinity, which motherfuckers joke about on Twitter all the time. You know what I mean? But to see him vocalize it and basically speak about how big organizations, they impose themselves, how men impose themselves, and how people are just, you know what I mean, they're forced to be defenseless, especially with women. And you think about all the allegations and stuff that's been going on these past like 2 years. He's able to articulate the flaws and what he sees in the oppressed, the problem with the oppressor and the oppressed, and how money and power gives you permission to denigrate women, men, colleagues, anything, you know what I mean, in that nature. So it was refreshing to see that. And then it's because of that, it makes it disappointing, because I you know how to put words together, you know how to write it down, you can make your words make sense. So to hear him speak, let me just say, all right, so he's they have on NBC or ABC, one of them shits, catching up with, but this episode was catching up with Terry Crews, and he's basically on this world tour where he's talking about how he dealt with toxic masculinity, how he dealt with power, how subconsciously he's seen women as being less than, because he was the man, he's the protector.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how he wouldn't let women talk about the experiences because he didn't want them to want to see them as real. You know, and he's on this tour, going on the views, going on the rail, and he's cutting promos for himself, his new show, I think it's Brooklyn or some shit. But they had asked him in regards of the Gabrielle Union situation, like what did he see to reach out to, like what did he think about the situation? So he cites, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically says, in terms of sexism, I can't speak on it because I'm not a woman. But in terms of racism, I work here and I've never experienced it. This is the most diverse, career path, career organization, company I've ever been with in terms of the talent they bring in and who they embrace. And I got you. I'm okay. Let me say this again. I'm okay with people saying I don't know. I think it takes real smarts, real.
It takes a strong individual
to say
be
I
able
don't
to
know,
that
I
they
don't understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying? So to have him say that, I didn't have any beef with it. I think it should be okay to say I don't know. I can't speak on this because I don't know. My beef with him is I've seen you articulate yourself. I've seen you see the connection between one oppressed person to the other. And I think he had a chance to, on air, galvanize and inspire a different group of oppressed, and he dropped the ball. He would have came up and said that, I can't speak on that issue because it's not in regards of what I've experienced there, but I'm always gonna root for oppressed because at the end of the day, my oppression is your oppression. My discrimination, I've been discriminated, I've been denigrated, I've been oppressed. So I know what it feels like to be oppressed. I may not know that particular situation. I may not experience that type of denigration from that oppressor, but I can empathize. Yeah. And that's why I feel like you dropped the ball, because I know you can articulate that. I've heard you speak. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. And then we put so much weight. And that's, again, because I've seen it, it's just like, I understand why people are disappointed, but then it's like, damn, we put so much weight into what these motherfuckers say. And they just reading scripts for a living. Mm. We pay these niggas our money to read scripts for a living, to read, bro. Mm. But we want them to talk about social issues. That shit's just so weird to me, bro. It's so weird. It's so weird, bro.
I think, I'm not necessarily trying to piggyback off of what you're saying, but
I'm listening.
I feel like a lot of people, like, you don't feel like the situation with Gabrielle, or the way that you just spoke about how you felt Terry Crews had an opportunity to speak up for Gabrielle Union, or just empathize with her, as you said. Like, just say, like, I don't understand that situation, but I do feel for her, even though I've never been in a situation. Because I feel like when you say, like, oh, I'm a man. In this situation, the sexism doesn't necessarily apply to me, but I've never experienced racism here. I feel like you basically just knocked down both of the arguments that she's saying. Do you not feel the same thing was done with Monique?
See, the thing about, and I do.
Okay, no, I'm just asking because I feel like that was the same thing that Monique
with Monique, and it's the way the two differ is because I wanted him to galvanize as an oppressed. Like, I wanted him to say, not as a black man, not as her being a black woman, or just us being black people, or whatever. I wanted the fact that you understand the trials and tribulations of being oppressed. I understand it, and I'm rooting for you, because she did the same thing for him when that happened. Because when you think about the court case, he didn't get raped. He didn't have a celebrity rape him, where women were talking about being drugged and raped, and being told that they're not getting rolled unless they give us some ass. Yeah. But you understood what it was like to be oppressed. Yeah. And it's a lot of what can hurt people can be what you don't say. And I think when you put yourself in that spotlight, in that particular spotlight, it's imperative that you clarify intent. It's imperative that you don't discriminate or marginalize what
anybody
you're
else
pushing.
Is going through.
Yeah, because that's what you're. That's what this whole tour is about.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about it's not about you. It's bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're out here to talk about your oppression for men and women that are out there suffering, whether it be in the workforce, whether it be at home.
However anyone's being oppressed, you put yourself in the spotlight
exactly
to be the voice.
And that's the beef I see.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beef I see with him in that situation. You feel what I'm saying? Because now the Monique thing, it's fucked up. And the reason why I say it's fucked up is because I remember watching Steve Harvey show.
Yeah.
My mother loves that shit. It's hard for me to watch it only because when I see and I'm going backwards only because I feel like it's okay to change. Let me start by saying this. You grow, you change, you become a different person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you become wiser.
Who are you speaking about?
I'm referring to Steve.
Yeah, okay.
Because growing up, he wasn't this nigga that we see now, bro. Oh, we didn't see this nigga we see now. We remember seeing the boisterous, we seen the raunchy comedy and excuse me. That's the Steve we remember.
Absolutely.
We don't know a politically correct Steve.
But I mean, Steve said it on the show though. He said how do I know, like, how for the life of me can I sit here and I don't understand it, because for me personally, I feel like I don't care. I'm gonna fight for me and whoever looks like me till I can't fight no more.
But especially somebody you consider your brother, your sister.
No, absolutely, because they came up together. I feel like when you watch the Kings of Comedy, like, for example, let's say you clicked on the Kings of Comedy, which it is on Netflix. Let's say you clicked on the Kings of Comedy on Netflix. And you're finished, and you know how it says
Queens
what you should
Comedy.
also watch. All right. So I didn't even have to finish.
Queens
you know,
Comedy.
and they not. I don't want to say they were around the same time. I want to say the Queens of Comedy came on maybe like it was their tour might have been like slightly after. But I just feel like even when you watch the Def Comedy Jam stuff, like they came up around the same time. You get what I'm saying? Like
I'll say they all came up around the same time.
But they got there.
Popped.
They popped. No, yeah. I was about, absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's what I said. I want to say like the Kings, like the Queens came after the Kings, which, I mean, that. But regardless, I feel like to say to a person who feels like in any situation that they are being oppressed, because at the end of the day, my experience is completely different from your experience. We can grow up in we can be twins.
Okay.
We can grow up in the same house, same parents. We have two different experiences. Like, everything for us can literally be the same thing, and we can have two different experiences. Like, it took you one more step than it did for me to get here. You get what I'm saying? Life is just about different experience. So I feel like to tell someone that for the life of me, I can't let my kids starve, so I'm not gonna speak out in the name of something right is a little off-putting to me personally, because I don't think that you should ever be like, oh well, like if you got 100 meals, you could miss one to do what's right. I feel like, you get what I'm saying? Like, Steve Harvey got way too much going on for you to not be able to be like, yo, I do understand in this situation, like she's not saying anything wrong. She's not doing anything wrong. You get? I just feel like that. I feel like as a culture, we do that. I don't feel like that's a thing with a lot of other cultures. I feel like we so hell bent on not missing a meal that we're not willing to stand up for something. We're not willing to push our plate aside. Like, nah, I'm not eating this. Like, you get what I'm saying?
And I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of a need for tribalism in our culture. I mean, a need to be together on something. Because when you look into a motherfucking laundromat and you see all the Asians or the Hispanics, they with their people.
No, but it's not.
I'm just using it as an example.
No, I get you. I was going to piggyback off that.
We lack
togetherness, essentially, because when you go into any of our communities, when you look around, the stuff in our communities is owned by other people. If you go into the deli's not owned by somebody that looks like me or you. When you go into a restaurant, it's not owned by somebody who looks. And when you go into a different community, for example, if you go into Chinatown, and I only put it in quotes because I don't feel like it. I don't think they want it to be called Chinatown. So you get what I'm saying. But when you go there, you could walk from one street to the next, and literally the only thing that changed from one street to the next is the sign. Like it went from saying Subways, which is a franchise, to now in Chinatown it says Subways, and there's a little sign at the top that says Subways in Chinese. The same thing in the Jewish neighborhood. Like if you go, and I grew up in Flushing, Queens, so like I can literally walk down a couple blocks and go to a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. I could walk down I can walk in a completely different direction and wind up in a predominantly Chinese or Asian neighborhood. Like I could go to Main Street one way, or I can go to what was considered from us growing up around the area, Jewish Main Street, which if I walk out my building, I make a right, I walk up to Chinese Main Street. If I walk straight out my building and go past Queens College, I got to Jewish Main Street. Mind you, it's still Main Street. Like that's the name of the block. And the 44 bus line goes throughout that whole thing. But you see the difference. If you take the bus from Main Street, you'll see the difference when you get on the bus and now everyone done got off that's Asian, and now everybody that's on this bus is Jewish.
See, by the end of the day, when they look at each other, I think every culture, every ethnicity, I don't want to say every race because I feel like there's one race, it's human race.
Absolutely.
They look at it as my people is my people, regardless of whether we share the same blood. They look like me, they're my people, and I feel like when it comes to us, if it's not lucrative, if we can't gain opulence from it, like we just don't want it. Because let's say, for example, I don't want to get too off topic. Let's say I got debt, you got debt, Meech has debt, and another one of our friends have debt. Within 2 years of us clicking our funds together, we should all be out of debt.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But that's one of those things that we lack. We lack a need for tribalism unless it's lucrative. Another thing that we lack is self-ownership. And that's not just from an economic sense, but that's emotional, spiritual. Like, regardless of what you do, I own me. You don't own me. So when I see Steve Harvey's situation, when I see Terry Crews hit the 180, it was just like, you guys don't have the inner self-awareness and ownership to understand that regardless of what you say, what you do, especially in this era of social media where it's just like, if I know you, it's really hard for you to go broke. Cancel culture is fake. You know, niggas may hate you, they may love you.
It's super fake. When people was canceling R. Kelly, he started streaming
fake.
#1.
It's fake. It's so fake. So to waste like you said, to waste the M or to defend your sister, defend a cause, defend a purpose.
So push a plate to the side. So that way, this person could continue to thrive.
But that shows self-ownership. That shows self-awareness. Because at the end of the day, you're not here on this earth to make a dollar. That's not your purpose. You're here on this earth. I am to help. That's where you put your imprint. How can I help the ones that look like me? And I don't mean that from a ethnicity standpoint. I'm just people. How can I help other human beings? The ones close to me, the ones that I consider colleagues, the ones that I see every day, the ones that I don't see, the ones that are less fortunate. That shows self-awareness and self-ownership. And I feel like that's a big thing that I think especially us as a culture, we lack.
I agree.
You know, and then to piggyback on that point, when I look at it again, I don't look at what Terry Crews did. What he did was wrong. It's just because I know you can articulate yourself. I wish you would have worded it better. What Steve did, I see it as wrong because you know. Like, you know.
That's a fact.
You feel what I'm saying? You know the grind. You know the grind. You was there.
You seen the work she put in.
Yeah, exactly. You up close, hand and personal. Like, I don't know if Gabrielle Union and Terry Crews was
with each other. You know these Monique and Steve Harvey was there working in the trenches together to get to where they are at this point in time. Like, you know that. But there's stuff like that like, and I have obviously no connection to either one, but it's things like that to pain me, like that pain me, because I would think that, like, if there was a situation where you was messed up or I was messed up, bro, I'm gonna do whatever I possibly can to make sure that you don't, like, I know you. I'm not gonna let nobody paint you when it's like that. I know that you.
And you
not.
talk about losing the M. You remember the first day you got your $100 bill, right?
That's a fact. I got it cleaned in my grandmother's crib. I remember the first time I touched the $100.
I feel like the moment you touch it, you get it again.
Mm-hmm. Nah, that's a fact.
If I touch a grand, I get a grand. Whatever I want, I go out and get a grand. You feel what I'm saying?
I don't think it's once you touch it. I think it's once you spent it. Once you spend $1,000, you know I had $1,000. I'm gonna get that back.
Yeah, but even once you work to get it,
I get you.
Once you work to get, I know I can work to get this M again because I've gotten it. I got it the first time.
Yeah, that's a fact. If I got it the first time, you gonna
can't
have to
tell
put
me
cinder
I
blocks
can't.
in front of me
Exactly.
for me to stop it.
You're not
to stop it. That's a fact.
You're not going to stop my grind. So, in terms of moving with a purpose for someone that you're so close with, someone you're so intimate with, not in a sensual sense, but in a kinship.
Mm-hmm.
It bothers me only because I have friends that I consider family, and I don't ever want to get to a point where just I'm too high, you know what I mean, in my name, too high in my checkbook where I can't give words, I can't help to back you because I was there, we grind together.
Absolutely.
I should know. It was just Monique was just not the top female comedian. She was at one point the top comedian at one point or another, or was up there.
Yeah, okay. She was in that conversation.
She was in that conversation.
Absolutely,
you know what I'm saying? Not saying, and you know, we would get down to comedies. Like I don't have neither one of the motherfuckers in my top 5. So we ain't gonna,
Monique or Steve Harvey.
Yeah, neither one in my
neither top 5. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely not.
But in terms of
hold on. Optics, all right, body of work, not in your top 5. Not stand up comedian top 5.
When I think about stand up comedian, when I think about body of work, and when I think about stand up comedian, when I think about being funny, I don't have it in my top 5. Same thing with ball. Like you know how we do this thing where it's just like rings matter. Like we feel a need to put.
I tell you all the time. I don't feel like rings matter.
Yeah,
I feel like me and you've had that conversation.
Yeah,
I don't think rings matter because we're playing. It's a professional sport, so you're playing with some of the best people in the world, but it's a team sport at the end of the day. So I can't.
It's hard.
You can't will nobody. You can't will a bunch of bums. You feel me?
If you go to Bleacher
Allen Iverson
Report,
tried.
Facts. If you were to go on YouTube Sports, you go to ESPN, you go to Bleacher Report, you watch their top 5. You know what I mean? Let's just random example. Top 5 point guards. This is random. Let's say
Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker, and just got skeptical.
Give me an all-time one. Give me an all-time one.
All time?
I want to prove a point.
J Kidd, Magic, Gary, Isaiah, and
give me one more.
John.
Where's Tony Parker?
Tony Parker's. I honestly think Tony Parker's a system player, bro, and
No, but what I'm saying is Tony Parker got 3 rings. He got a Finals MVP. He's been matched.
Fuck that.
I'm
not jacking it. I'm not jacking it.
That's what I'm saying.
Jason Kidd got 1, and that's not even. He can't play with him for real.
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, bro. I got what you were saying.
Rings held weight. So
if rings held weight, then Bill Russell's point guard would be
And I mean Tony's ranked higher than Tracy. Like I don't like that's out of your fucking mind,
nigga. I will black. I will be tearing the fuck up because I'm not even Manu's not even in. I feel like Manu's a Manu ball. Like I'm not saying Tony Parker don't ball. I feel like Tony Parker's a system player.
I think if Manu was on that team, Manu would have a season 21-8.
Manu would be a Hall of Famer if he's not on that team. I don't think. Like I feel like Manu.
I still think he's a Hall of Famer.
But he's a Hall of Famer because he's on that team.
That's a fact.
You get what I'm saying? Like when you think about like the Lakers dynasty, when you think about the Celtics dynasty, there's people you have to put in that Hall of Fame because of their the team accolades with solid numbers. You get what I'm saying? Where there's niggas who balled out but didn't get to that point. That's like, nah, I gotta respect it because you was out here doing this filthy every day.
See, but look, when I think about that and when I talk about comedy, if I had to look at Patrice O'Neal was out there killing.
One of the greatest to ever do it.
Bernie was out there
killing.
Now Bernie, again, a TV show, Kings of Comedy. But in terms of a naturally just funny nigga, that didn't have a crazy pen.
But just being able to tell a joke, I feel like just being able to get people to buy into what he was saying. Bro, he got on stage and said, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
I ain't scared of you some bitches.
Like, you feel me? Like, it was just his aura that made him funny. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. So when you talk about just niggas just funny. It's funny. And I remember when Dolomite came out, right? And I think they were doing a round table and I forgot who Eddie Murphy said it. I don't know if he said Chris Rock said it, but he was talking to one of the close-knit comedians that is still alive and still doing it, and one of them said that Bernie is he's number one. He's arguably the best, and Eddie was like, oh. I don't know about arguably the best. I think he's funny, but to say he's the greatest of all time, or even like, funny is funny. At the end of the day, funny is funny. Patrice O'Neal's funny. Capone is funny.
So this is the current Dolomite. This is the
this
remake.
Okay,
I didn't see. I'm saying I didn't even watch that movie, but I mean I know it's on Netflix. I just didn't watch it.
I'd watch it, but they did the roundtable. It was just Eddie
and somebody said like Bernie's arguably the greatest.
Somebody said it, and then Eddie was just.
But
like,
you want to know what that I think that is also. I think that might just be the competition.
I think it's the Jordan. Yeah. That's the Jordan Eddie.
Yeah.
Because you hear Jordan's like, 3 rings is nice.
I mean,
I got 6.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's comments like that. So I feel like that might just be the competition in them. Because when you think about it, if I feel like I'm the greatest to ever do this and I got the accolades to go with it,
you're gonna talk your shit.
That's it. So you could tell me, we could have a conversation where I feel like Kobe, God rest his soul, that like.
I think he's I honestly think he's the 4th greatest player of all time.
You think Kobe's the 4th?
I think 4th. I think
4th.
All time.
Go ahead.
So I'd have LeBron as my 1A. I would have Jordan as my 1B. I go Kareem, and then I go
Kareem
Kobe.
or Hakeem.
Kareem. I'm only gonna say so. The reason why I'm saying Kareem is because at some point
in time you couldn't stop him.
At some point in time you couldn't stop him. I've seen he's played in more eras of the big man. Like when the big man was at his greatest, and then I think maintaining an A level the longest, I gotta give him his nod for that. I think Kareem is a more talented player. Like I think you could be a more talented player. Kobe was more talented than Shaq. Shaq was the best player on that team.
Okay.
Hakeem is more talented than Kareem.
So we're getting into the conversation of talent versus impact, where you can be skillful and be impactful. Because I was having this conversation at a game night at Irv's crib. So it's where every so often I realize I'm having a conversation and I just feel like I'm having a conversation with people I want to be like, yo, you're just dumb. Like I'm sorry to say this, like, but I don't care.
Listen, Irv, I love you.
Huh?
You my man.
Nah, but it wasn't Irv. It wasn't Irv, bro.
Okay.
But I'm saying like it was his little brother Eddie. It was Manny, Kareem, bro. Like I'm saying, Paul George is more skillful than Giannis.
Yes, I think
Giannis is more impactful.
Like one's again. So the way I would phrase it is Paul George is more. He's more talented than Giannis, but in terms of a game plan and a team running through a player and production and impact.
And because at the end of the day, bro, that's an impact thing. Yeah. Because it's like, bro, with his size and skill set, you can't do anything.
You can't.
But that doesn't like, bro, the ability that Paul George has with a basketball in his hand and on the defensive end is like. Because you gotta because think about it, bro. It's the intangibles. Like they might be around the same height, but Giannis, no, bro. I think they're both like 6'9".
No, Giannis is 6'11".
Nah, bro, he's not that. But when you watch him stand next to Kevin Durant, bro, it's not like there's a significant difference. But I'm saying 6'11" and 7 foot is not. You feel me? Like
I feel you. I just. When they and
I'm not saying that it's like a foot, like I'm not saying that like you get what I'm saying, but I'm just saying when you
regardless, I think all of them was around him, Ben Simmons. I think they're around legit
that 6'9", 6'10" height, yeah. But I'm saying, bro, Paul George is there.
No. But what I'm saying is, So the reason being why I think Giannis is better. Paul George to me, I can put a game plan together, whereas he can go off, but he has to do a certain thing to go off. That jump shot got to be going to go off.
But I think
he doesn't have that one thing in his game.
He's jump shot happy now.
No.
That jump shot don't got to be going for him to go off because early on in his career, that jump shot wasn't there.
No. But even if you think early on in his career, when the jump shot is there, he's a top 10 player. He's unguardable. There's nothing you could do. But when the jump shot is Like
It's
when
not-
all else fails, LeBron is putting his fucking head down and going straight to the rim.
The same thing
And
with
there's
Giannis.
when all else fails, when Giannis
but
puts
what
his
I'm
head down
saying
and goes
is
to the
with
fucking
the
rim.
skill set and their physical stature and ability, like you get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, bro,
It's harder to game plan for Giannis and this Paul George. That's what I'm.
no,
getting at.
absolutely. But that's just because if all else fails, Giannis is not about to sit there and take 10 jump shots.
What post up? I'm your bro. He posted up.
But
Ben
that's the
Simmons the other
thing.
night.
This baby.
Baby.
But what I'm saying is Paul George has that ability. Paul George has the strength and athletic ability to.
He doesn't have Giannis' strength. I've seen.
He doesn't have Giannis' strength.
I think,
but you don't have to have Giannis' strength to be effective.
No. But I'm not saying he's not effective. What I'm trying to say is what Giannis does in terms of getting deep positioning off drives, off. He can go to low post with or without the ball and get deep position.
And absolutely.
And the thing about when I think about Paul George, I think about and again, I'm not saying that he's. Let me say, I don't think he's Jaylen Brown. Let me not say this, but I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan, and I always felt like he had a post game as a 2 guard, but there was no drift. There's no drift to go with it. Mm-hmm. So it was just like he has the moves, but in terms of
he's able to get
bumping,
you on his hip.
he doesn't have that.
He can't move you once he got you on.
I think Paul George similar way. He's not moving. He's not moving everybody. He should be moving. Kawhi moves motherfuckers. Giannis moves everyone.
No.
You know what I mean? I think that's one of the things that Paul George lacks. I honestly, this Clippers team, I want him to play point. I want him to embrace the point guard role because I think his game he's too talented, too smooth, especially in pick and roll situations to be a wing. I feel like he can create for others.
Absolutely.
I feel like he can make the decisions in pick and roll. I
think that with the team that they have,
he has to be because you got a stretch 4. You got a 4'9" stretch 4. And Pat Bev.
I hate the way you talk about Pat Bev.
Nigga. His bum ass.
I want to touch on something real quick because the conversation was Giannis and Paul George during that game night, but it was also Klay Thompson and CJ McCollum.
I think CJ is a more talented player. I think Klay Thompson is
more impactful.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying, they're like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, bro, they're like, no, that's not true. Because if I do something really well, and let's say I do 2 things really well, I'm better. Like, I'm a more impact because if we're putting a grade on it, like A+ and A+. So A+ on defense, A+ on a jump shot.
Talking about 2K.
Nah, but I'm saying that's how they. But I don't think that they were really trying to reference 2K. I think they were just trying to put it in perspective for me. But when you think about it, bro, Klay Thompson, great defender, probably
I think he's the best stationary defender in the league in terms of guarding guards.
I want to say he's the 3rd best defender, the second or third best guard. Because what do we consider Jimmy now? We're also in a positionless.
I think
NBA.
you're either a wing or a playmaker. I think it's that simple. You're the wing or playmaker.
Okay.
So, and even I was about to use Jimmy as an example because he was talking about Bam, and he was even on that team, I think Jimmy is the most talented player. Mm-hmm. But watching them play,
Bam is the most impactful player.
He's the best player on that team. And even Jimmy said, he was like, yo, Bam.
We're winning because of him.
We're winning because of Bam. Bam rebounds, Bam is guarding 1 through 5. You know, even when I'm out there, the offense runs through Bam. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Jimmy, when it's all said and done, when it's time to make the last basket,
when it's time to be that buck.
When you gotta get a buck, you gotta get the buck.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in terms of the best player, what runs like the team's game plan, the heart and soul of what they run through, that is their best player. So when I think about CJ, I'll cut the CJ Klay. When I think about Klay, right? You go back to when they beat Cleveland the first time, and I'm talking about when Kyrie was healthy. So I think it was Durant's first season when they beat Cleveland. I have never seen anybody that was able to stay with Kyrie. Mm-hmm. Klay did that shit for like 44 minutes. Like, don't get me wrong, Kyrie went off.
But he was there
every time.
Every trip, right there, like hand in his face. But there was
not biting on nothing.
There was nothing he could do.
But he made it.
No, absolutely, I agree.
Because that to me, that is don't get me wrong. Getting a stop is cool or whatever. But you can't.
But
stop
when you say great defense, because at the end of the day, these are the best players in the world. When you say great defense, better O, there's nothing you can do. You got to tip your hat.
There's nothing you can do, and especially in that sequence where we don't have a big man you can leave in the rim. Well, we have
To
guys,
protect the rim.
Yeah, to protect the rim. You don't. Everybody spread 5 guys deep, so you can't have a big man at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's no hand checking. It's impossible to guard these guys as talented as they are. The talent that is projecting this league, where everybody can shoot from 30 feet, everybody can do it with volume, everybody's an ambidextrous, everybody plays with counters instead of go-to moves.
I think that wasn't, but like when it's like currently in this NBA, like as far as skill, I want to say skill, Kyrie Irving is probably the most skillful point guard in the NBA.
Oh, in terms of skill, just pure skill?
Pure skill all around, though. Because there's
no,
and offensively, I should say.
I'm about to say in terms of what he can do with the basketball in his hand.
Yes.
I think in terms of offense, I still think it's Steph, because I think off ball there's a certain understanding he has with spacing and angles, and that he just.
I get what you mean, bro, but I don't feel like. I feel like
because that's what Kyrie lacks. I think
off. No,
him
I agree with that.
Point guard blows mine because just go out there and be Kyrie. Go out there and be Kyrie. Be a guy who I can't guard you on ball, off ball, but you should. But I feel like
I want to say like I feel like Steph finds open people. I feel like Kyrie gets people open. I feel like that ability. I get what you mean by off ball, but I mean as far as being a point guard, like being the person.
I think Steph does both.
I don't think so. I don't think Steph gets people open. I think his ability to score the ball and the team's needs. Teams feeling the need
to triple team,
to double and triple team him.
Once
he touches the half court.
But that's to me that's opening the floor. That's finding guys open.
But I don't think that's finding guys open with their passing ability.
No. But look, it's different. For me, it's different. We're in a league where it's frowned upon to go out and get 12 assists a game. Why? Because you're considered a ball stopper.
I think it depends on who is.
I think it's who on the team.
I think it's who's doing it that is frowned upon.
No. But I think it's who the team, the placement. Because
Russell Westbrook stops the ball, LeBron doesn't stop the ball now.
There's still moments. You know, I think. There's so many passes that's going on in that team. Especially
CP doesn't stop the ball, though.
CP does stop the ball.
I don't think CP stops the ball. Bro, they playing a 3-point guard. What's the name in a lot of teams? He doesn't have the ball.
I'm not talking about right now. But there's been time in prime CP. You hear guys talk about it where CP.
Prime CP, everyone can't do what he's doing. He's making players better. David West was an all-star with CP. Tyson Chandler averaged the most he ever averaged in his career with CP.
But it's
DeAndre Jordan looked like a viable offensive option with CP.
But listen. And I agree. And when we talk about greatest point guards of the time, I think to me he's tied for third. I think him and J Kidd, I think they're just different spectrums of pass first point guards.
Tied for third. Magic, Isaiah, CP, and J Kidd are tied for third. Yeah. I hate you. Keep going. I hate you.
We'll get into it.
No, he's not Jason Kidd, bro. Just know you shouldn't be a tie. I hate you.
I do think
hate you.
I'll explain why.
No, I hate you. Jason Kidd brought a bunch of decent players. Decent players.
In the East.
Again, bro, do you not remember that Detroit Pistons team? Like, I feel like people, like, granted, the East was doo-doo, but do you not remember that Detroit Pistons team?
My thing is,
do you remember that? Do you remember that Detroit?
I hear you.
No. Do you remember?
I remember.
Boy, that was something different, though.
He was beating a beat-up Detroit Pistons team. I remember him.
He beat a beat-up Detroit Pistons team.
A terrible Boston Celtics team in the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference so bad. I've seen
terrible Boston Celtics team.
That team was terrible.
Who was on that team?
We go back and watch it.
But I'm saying, who was on that team?
Pierce. What's the ball?
Antoine Walker. Antoine Walker was. Antoine Walker was a solid player. He was a 20.
But I'm saying in that era. I'm not trying to don't think of.
No. I get what you're saying. In that era, the East was doo-doo, bro. I just said that. Like, the East was boo-boo.
Was ass.
Not ass, though.
East was ass.
Bro, the teams that were solid in the East were solid teams, though.
But look, I don't think Kidd beat all of those solid teams. Like, when you talk about LeBron's run, LeBron beat Detroit. Like he beat Detroit. Like after,
But I'm saying LeBron
LeBron
beat Detroit because LeBron was able to beat Detroit. Jason Kidd wasn't the player to beat a team. He was able to make his teammates better to beat a team, and his team was boo-boo. Jason, who's their starting center?
Was ass.
Who's their starting center, bro?
Kevin Martin was an all-star this first year.
Kevin Martin was an all-star.
His first year. He was an all-star.
He wasn't an all-star his first year.
Not his rookie year. You know how you have rookie in your first year? He was the thing. That's weird. After your rookie, that's your first year. He was an all-star. Listen, I hear you. But when I think about
but there were also all stars that were averaging like 17 and 8 back then. Like not back then. I feel like there was a pivotal point where all-star games were people who deserved to be there, and then it just became a point where it's just like this year. I don't know if everyone deserved to be there. Like there was definitely some guys where it's like
Bradley Beal is not a fucking all-star. It gets me mad because I looked in the court and I seen fucking Kyle Lowry.
You see, bro?
Listen. If Kyle Lowry, if you ever see this, I hate you. I don't think you're terrible at basketball. I just don't think you're an all-star. Like you're not pick over Bradley Beal, who's averaging 30 a game, all-star. Yeah, I had Siakam. I feel like
you should.
If you have home court advantage, you should have a guaranteed all-star on the all-star team.
I get you.
Like that, Louisville should be an all-star because I think like last season, come all-star break, Clippers were a 4th seed.
Mm-hmm. They weren't a 4th seed.
The all-star break, they was a 4th seed.
I don't think they were the 4th, bro. I think they were 6th.
No, bro. We'll look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that was the beef. It's like, damn, Doc is really winning with these niggas. And then once Tobias left, they kind of tread off. Mm-hmm. But they had home court advantage. Louisville should have been an all-star.
I agree. I agree with the sentiment. I get it.
And again, but again, we're gonna get back. All-star means all-star, the best players in the league. Mm-hmm. I love Chris Middleton. I think he's having a great season. I don't mind him being there because he's 50, 40, 90.
But I'm saying if you're gonna make the argument,
no, but listen, he's having a great. See,
he is
not having a great season.
He's not having a great season, but they're winning.
That's why you have Pascal Siakam.
All right, I get you.
See, but the thing is, Chris Middleton's have.
I like Chris. No, bro. I love Chris Middleton.
90,
bro, I ain't gonna lie. I really that Bucks team with Giannis. You know I love Eric Bledsoe, bro. You know I love.
And
Eric
that's the
Bledsoe.
thing. I'm waiting for them to get rid of that nigga.
Huh?
Honestly, I'm waiting for them to get rid of that nigga. I think, what's crazy? If they got rid of Eric Bledsoe and put Mike Conley in that shit right now, I think we'd really be talking about like, I'm not gonna lie, they the team to beat. You wouldn't look at them as like, all right, they're the team to come out the East. You would look at them as like a serious contender.
I think you just want Mike Conley to win one.
Nigga, I want Mike because Mike Conley's at the top. Mike Conley's a bad motherfucker.
But I'm saying though, if he's a bad motherfucker, then they should be able to win. They should be able to win where he's at.
No, but listen.
Why do you want him to? No, but honestly, why do you want him to?
Because he's been on teams that wasn't. He's been on teams that wasn't healthy.
But he
hasn't been healthy.
Utah's good though.
Utah's good.
No, but Utah's like really good though. Like Utah has the ability to.
I don't see them winning a chip.
No, me neither.
I'm about to say that's where he was going.
Nah. But bro, if they all come together, that talent pool,
No. They're a sleeper to move, but as far as winning a chip, like when it comes down to,
I think they're a bad matchup for everybody in the West. My fault. I think they're a bad matchup for everybody in the West.
I don't think they're a bad matchup for the Lakers. I think having
why are they not? Rudy Gobert makes them the bad matchup for everybody in the West.
The thing about Rudy Gobert, and you'll see it with when if you remember them playing Chris Paul in the Clippers and Chris Paul on the Rockets, if you remember seeing them playing Steph in the Warriors. The better pick and roll ball handlers will find a way to put him on an island, and we'll take him out of the paint, and they'll just go to work. Like they have when they run things defensively through him, they're a monster. But come playoff time, you can't do that. This isn't 2001. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. Where the big man is stationary in the paint because the other big
they're always out there.
But you got to think about it.
I don't see them as that.
Excuse me. I think the ability of some ball handlers, but you got to think about it. Who's gonna be that ball handler in LA? I feel like. Damn, I don't even want to say that because I feel like that's kind of crazy.
When they're moving the ball,
the Lakers have the ability to move the ball.
I'm about to say who's gonna he's gonna be.
But I feel like But I feel like you have to have the ability where you have to have the AD gets jump shot happy.
He does.
So I'm saying, like,
you're not gonna tell Rudy Gobert, yo, stay in the paint and leave AD open.
He's not gonna tell.
He's not terrible to the. He's not like
No,
he's
no.
a solid shot. He's not a great shooter.
Is
Solid.
He's
not. He's what I mean by solid. Like you remember how 33% you get a paycheck if you shot 33% in 2000. You were a good 3-point shooter if you shot 33%. You're not a good 3-point shooter if you shoot 33% in this league. But 33% is you make one. That's 1 of 3. You feel what I'm saying? They're gonna still have Rudy Gobert out there guarding him. You know what I mean? I don't see him just staying in the paint.
No, he can't just stay in the paint. But I'm just saying, I feel like they're
gonna make it. You know what team they are gonna make it tough for? I think they make it tough for Houston.
They make it tough for Houston and the Clippers. The Clippers, Montrezl Harrell is their best center.
See the thing. If
Montrezl Harrell adds a jump shot to his game, then we're having a different conversation.
But see, the thing is especially with the Marcus Morris pickup, and I love that pickup.
I agree.
You can put 4 dudes out there who can
give me a moment. Mm-hmm. James Dolan, I fucking hate you.
Oh yeah,
I fucking hate you. It's been 25 years of me fucking hating you. I hate you with all of my soul. I hate you.
I just want to be a Knicks fan.
I fucking hate you.
I just want to be a Knicks fan.
25 years of my life, fucking hate.
I just hope that our kids can be Knicks fans. That's all I pray. I don't feel like
my child has no choice. I had no choice.
No, but I want to see I want them to see a winning Knicks team.
James Dolan, I fucking hate you. I hope one of your ears fall off.
I can't, man. I can't. What you be? I can't.
Bro, I really don't understand. I don't know if it, like the pain. Like I was having a conversation with Dimitri, and basically, Dimitri X and Dion, and the conversation. These are friends that like from our inner circle. But the thing about it is like, I'm a person. Like I'm a home person. Like I'm a home. Like I don't care. I don't watch hockey. I want the Islanders and I want the Rangers to win. I don't care. I want them to win. Like I don't care. Like I'm going to the parade. We lit. Like I'm a Yankees fan. I also root for the Mets.
See, but that's weird to me.
What you mean?
Like, all right, when it comes to sports,
I'm from Queens.
No.
Oh.
I feel like when it comes to sports, it's hard for me. I'm not gonna say it's hard for me to be a home team, but it's just like when I find a player I like when we all got into football, I told you I fell in love with Aaron Rodgers. I love Russell Wilson. Like I just love like really good players.
Oh no, absolutely. So, I'm a person like I'm a fan of a player, but I'm a fan of the organization I fuck with first. Like, and not necessarily the organization. I mean the team, because obviously I don't care about the owners. Like James Dolan, fuck you. I don't care. Like I don't care about the owner of the Baltimore Ravens. Outside of football, everything else is the town. Like everything else is the town. Like. I'm rooting for the Knicks. I want Brooklyn to win as well. I want the Nets to win. I'm not a Nets fan, but I want the town to win.
I am not from Jersey. All right, you niggas is Jersey. Like y'all from Jersey.
I'm not jacking it, bro.
Listen, y'all have you motherfuckers. Listen.
So
y'all have a jersey that
are you a Dodgers fan?
Y'all have a jersy that says Bed-Stuy. We're not in Bed-Stuy.
Are you a what's name, bro? Are you a Dodgers fan? Are you
Manny? No, I fuck with the Dodgers. I've had Dodgers.
All right, but are you a New York Dodgers fan, bro? I'm saying that's a different. Like you a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. Are you a Giants fan? Like it's a different.
I've been a Giants fan, but I've also had again. It's just I get attached to players. I don't get attached to teams.
No, but I don't mean the New York Giants, bro. I mean the Giants that are currently in San Francisco used to be a baseball team in New York City.
Not a fan, but I got that.
No, but that's all I mean. Like, bro, like I'm like if you hear for the moment, like if the Nets go back to New Jersey, fuck them niggas. If you at the town, bro, I want you to win. Like I want New York to win. Period. Like currently drill rap music in New York is making noise, but it's not original, like it's not boom bap New York music.
New York.
But
it's not.
But it's New York, so I want the town to win, bro.
They're from New York. It's not New York.
Bro, they're from New York. You got to think about it, bro. What impact? You got to think about it, bro. What impacts you? Like what makes you? You got this current generation of musicians. They're younger than us. The New York rappers are currently younger than us. So what impacted them? We were in high school listening to drill music.
these
We
niggas-
were listening to Chief Keef, bro. Think about that.
Listen.
They were in middle school. They were freshmen in middle school, like freshmen in high school, middle schoolers. That impacted them. What impacted you?
In high school, niggas was listening. Let me see what I was listening to in high school. I was listening to Cole. We was listening to Cole in high school.
We was listening to
We
Cole in
was
high school
listening
as
to
well.
Wale. I was listening
saying,
to Hobson. I was listening to Haji Beats. Who else?
bro,
I used to
you
be
are
Logic.
right.
I
I'm not
used to be
taking it.
Logic
You were
fan.
listening to Wale. You were listening to Kendrick. I'm saying
No, they
like,
have different influence. It's different.
But I'm saying, think about why you gravitated all of the music that came out during.
But hear me out.
When we go ahead.
What made it listen, and again, you gonna like what you like, but I felt like what made it okay for me to like what I like and for me to like to have my influences is that my influences were from here. So it's just like that's the thing. They remind me of there's an essence of Nas, there's an essence of Hov, there's an essence of AZ, of Cool G, and all the things I grew up loving and listening to.
But that's what I'm trying to get across to you,
Ain't
bro.
no New York in this shit these niggas is listening to.
But that's because there's no New York in the shit that they was listening to. Listen to what you're saying.
Right.
The shit that you listened to was influenced by the shit that you gravitated to. Like, bro, the people that we listen to, like, love Kiss, bro. Like, we listen to people who love Kiss. We listen to people who love Nas. Like, bro, I'm a Cole stan, bro.
Facts.
Like, I stand, like, you feel me?
Facts.
He has a song, Let Nas Down. You get what I'm saying? Think about he made a song in ode to another person. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, the people that we love,
But from New York. That's what I'm trying to say.
Cole's not from here.
But what I'm trying to say is his influences
But
are from New York.
but what I'm trying to say is, if your influences from somewhere else, it is what it is, bro. Like, you got to think about it. The generation beneath us listened to Gucci. Gucci influenced so many people. Like, Gucci influenced people from Chicago. Like, drill rappers, like, be like, yo, we love Gucci. Like, we love his ignorant ass. They not from Atlanta.
I feel you.
You got to think, like, you, bro, what impacts you is the things that impacted the people that impact you. At the end of the day, you hear Rakim and other rappers, so you're gonna go back and listen to Rakim because you gained a love for that noise. You love 50, bro.
That's a fact.
50,
That's a fact.
yeah.
I
Growing
mean,
up, I was confused. My mama kissing the girl, confused. Like, he let you know. Like, my favorite rapper used to say, "Check out my melody."
That's a fact.
That's raw. That's
a fact.
Rakim, bro.
That's a fact.
I'm just saying, like,
And I think you got a point. I
it's annoying that it's not New York, and we grew up with. But you also got to think about it. You have to develop your own style and listening to what you want to listen to. We done?
We getting there.
Okay.
You want to finish up what you got to say?
We grew up listening to what influenced us, but everyone develops their own everybody develops their own ear essentially, and someone may have grown up in a household where they didn't hear Biggie, they didn't hear DMX, they didn't hear Hov.
Listen, the way we're gonna close this out. I'm just telling them this ear that you niggas have, it sucks. You guys had terrible people in your life. The adults you had weren't cool. And fuck the music you listening to. This is the podcast with the boy Maroon. Here with one of my closest friends, my brother Hav, and we're closing out. Have a blessed day. Love is love. God ride.
Fuck you, James Dolan.